I'm live now. So I have created a function of that convert variable name into the string, but this was useless here. So I will not use it here for now, but that will help us a lot to use in the another function in the another files. I was going to add a check for that. Model.user is equal to user id, so we can destructure the user id from out this model. Let me go back to my API method. There I'm getting the user id from the decoded user data. So let's console our decoded user data and the post.user id. Here I can console this one to get to know if it has the id. It should have to have the id. Console.log user console identity. I have the constant to identify the console. Here I can use the user. So let's call the API again. Let me call the API reference array. User is not defined. Why? I had defined the user here. Oh, I see. Let me. If we have the, I don't need to use that out. Okay, so this is the best approach. This function will run only if we have the model. Now let me call the API to run the console. We have got the data about the user. Here how can they structure the object ID? Let me ask it from the chat GPT. It will give me the I think I can use it to object method, then I can destructure its id. Let me try that also. To object is the method to handle the MongoDB model data into the object. To object, let's console it now. Again, let me console it now again. Mm, I have console the model's response. MongoDB model response. Now I want to get the ID. It is as simple as we use the object. User ID constant user id is equal to user dot id. Now let's console only of our user id. It is returning me new object id. Sorry. Now I got the id. To get this id, I need to write these line of codes that is more than 2. So I can create its a own function to destructure the id from any of the model response. What we will do, we will send only of its model, and that will return us a id in this case format. Okay. Actually it is a not a common function. It contains the data of the model, so data will be the best approach to use the common helper file of the API. Here I have the API helper file. Here we can fetch the current id. Constant fetch current id that will be a function get id only. Into the side of this function we will receive a param that will be a response of the model. In this param we can response we can destructure the response from the model. Let me go back to my previous function. I am going to get the copy of these two lines basically. One line will be enough. This is the id that will return. Now user is basically the response. Okay, in this response we need to get only the id, then therefore I'm returning that id. That is not getting usable. Now it has gotten the usable. So here instead of using all of these 3 lines, I can use a single function that will return me the id. It will find the id itself, it will convert the id into the string and return me that current exact id. I'm using the id here, get id function, it will have the response now. Let me console to see that it is working fine or not. It is perfectly working fine. So here I don't need to use the variable of user ID. I will only use the function that will return me the ID. That is the best approach for now, right? I can make the commit of that helper function that I have created right now. Git status file has been added, git commit -m feat created a common helper API function to return return ID from the model. Well, oh sorry, yeah, it was model's response, not a single model. Committed git push origin main. Let's see you next video to keep it further continue.